Hi everyone, I'm Melissa Duran. Welcome to Trending Vegas. We're talking about the big stories you're definitely seeing on your social media channels in recent weeks. I'm joined by a portion of the city's social media team, Jace Radke and Natasha Shahani. And our special guest is local blogger and social media influencer, Melissa Osborne, aka The Daily Nail. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So explain to everyone what The Daily Nail is. I think that's very cool that you call yourself The Daily Nail, by the way.
Thank you. So The Daily Nail came about as a means of me helping with my procrastination problem. I decided to do a different nail design every single day for an entire year. And I did complete the year. I started in October of 2009 and I finished October of 2010. I continued.
That's a lot of work.
It was a lot of work. Since then I have expanded into beauty, fashion, lifestyle as well, all things I'm very passionate about. So it's been a fun little ride.
Yeah, and through this nail blog, you were telling me that big names picked you up.
Yeah. Taco Bell found some nail art that I'd done during my first year of my blog, and they actually had me do nail art for their social media channel. They do a trio of images across their Instagram, so that was really awesome. Oreo noticed my recent Game of Thrones image
right there
with the textured dragon nails in their Oreo Game of Thrones cookies, because I'm a huge Oreo and huge Game of Thrones fan.
For you.
I'm like, it's like my happy place. And they actually reached out and they sent me this amazing silver, it's like an engraved chalice with like the House Targaryen emblem and the Oreo on the other side. I used to eat my milk and Oreos on Sunday during the show.
Well, we're glad you're joining us, and so if you want to follow Melissa, go ahead and follow her at The Daily Nail, correct?
Yep, on Instagram at The Daily Nail.
All right, well, we're going to start to talk about some marijuana news. I'm sure everyone has seen the city of Las Vegas approved marijuana lounges. Some love it, others hate it, and here are some posts. This one from the RJ, it says, breaking: the Las Vegas City Council Wednesday voted to allow so-called social use venues where people can consume marijuana, making the city the first in Nevada and one of the few nationwide to allow the practice. This person tweets, hell no. Just had to, pretty simple, right? But gets his point across. This one, cannabis consumption lounges in Las Vegas have been approved. This is huge. Well, this tweeter puts, welcome to the new Amsterdam. And then there's this comment from Debbie Hall. This is huge, and Las Vegas wasn't even in the experts' radar to be one to legalize consumption lounges. So let's go ahead and just jumpstart there. Let's start with some of the formality of it. There are some rules for these social use venues. Natasha, Jace, correct?
Yeah, you want to take it?
Sure. Well, it's an ordinance, which is a law. So the way it works is a council person will put an ordinance out there, and then it has to go through the process. So this thing has changed many times, and it's doubly complicated because the state is the ones that have allowed marijuana usage. It's obviously still illegal federally. So there's a lot of pitfalls here. Our ordinance does not allow for you to have food at marijuana lounges or alcohol. You can just basically go in there to smoke marijuana, and it's important because the law from the state basically allows recreational marijuana use, but you can't smoke it in public.
Right.
So, we have 300,000 plus tourists every weekend coming into Las Vegas. Marijuana is legal here, but where can they smoke it? They can't smoke it in their hotel rooms. They can't smoke it on the street. So there's literally no place for those people to smoke it. So I think that was the intent of the council, to try to develop a place where they could do that legally.
I hear that and I'm going, okay, I understand that. That's makes sense. I don't understand why not food in these social use venues. That seems a little...
Seems like they go hand in hand.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't they go hand in hand?
I think they're trying to start, again, when we got medical marijuana, we started very strict and then we loosened as it went. When we did recreational, same thing, very strict, and then it got looser as we learned through the process. And we've actually talked to some marijuana dispensary owners as well as our business licensing in the latest podcast episode, Vegas TMI, which people can find at lasvegasnevada.gov/podcast. And it was really an eye-opening experience to even talk to a dispensary owner, too, because they've said it was really hard. They fought with the people they were doing the podcast with at one time. But we're learning. So we need to start at a place where everyone feels comfortable and then learn from there.
Right.
But I think it's something that people are looking forward to. And just for clarification, this is within city limits. So does not say that there's going to be consumption lounges on the strip. That has not yet been decided. But within city limits, and the Cannabis Museum we also talked to them on the podcast, and they were waiting for it to pass because everyone has ideas of how they like to incorporate it into their business.
I definitely like this tweet right here. It says, "High Times Mag, that is very dope. How many more states can get this underway?" So many puns on Twitter. Melissa, what do you think about this, just from an outsider and just a normal resident? You work in downtown.
Right.
What do you think about this?
Honestly, I think it's an amazing idea because, like you said, there's 300,000 tourists coming in a weekend. They can buy it, but what's the point in buying it if they can't transport it across their state lines going home? There's, I don't know about you guys, but driving up and down the strip or driving around, you do smell marijuana, and it would be great for them to have a place to do it,
right?
To smoke it, to enjoy Las Vegas, and it's bringing tax dollars into the state, into the city. I personally am not a smoker, but I feel like it's a great idea.
I think people have to get over the stigma of marijuana being worse than alcohol. People made a lot of points in their social media tweets that, well, what's the difference between a social use venue for marijuana and a bar?
Right.
You can get wasted essentially in either one. So it really is interesting to see the back and forth. A lot of people were really upset about it, saying it's going to be worse. It's just a matter before cocaine. That's a little crazy. The one thing I do really like with this topic, though, I really appreciate the city council's willingness to just forge ahead with this. I know they got some flack for it, saying they should have waited for the state. But, I do think it's interesting to see that they're willing to try new things. What's going to work? What do our residents, what does the community, what do our tourists need? Jason?
Well, it's not done. I know in social media it's like the palace of outrage, right? Everyone wants to get in there and get their opinion out early. But this is a process, and it's going to change. The governor has instituted a committee at the state level to look at marijuana. There may be some state laws we're subservient to those laws, so it could change our ordinance.
Right.
So we don't know. So people should keep that in mind, that if you don't like it now, let your voice be heard, but there probably will be some changes in the future.
And I
That's
think
a really good point.
people thought it was instant. They voted, tomorrow there'll be marijuana consumption lounges, but it doesn't work that way. And, we got questions on social how can I apply to open one? And, we responded. The ordinance just passed, and for the first year, only current dispensaries have the right to apply for one. And then in another year, if the state hasn't made a decision, then we'll proceed from there and see where it goes. So everything is a learning process, and we just have to kind of wait and see how it evolves.
All right, very good points, guys. Okay, we're going to switch gears to another topic that seems to get people fired up. HOV lanes. The city's social media team put out a poll asking if people support HOV lanes or not, and the response, well, it was more than just yes, I support or no, I don't. Here are some of the posts you may have seen. First, let's start with the city's poll. It's kind of hard to see here, but Project Neon put this out, and it's City of Las Vegas Facebook. It says, here are the results of a recent City of Las Vegas poll showing that 60% of motorists support HOV lanes. This one from Ken Smith, who is a traffic reporter for Fox 5. Carpooling has failed in other cities, resulting in HOV lanes being converted into toll lanes. I'm afraid that will eventually happen here, rather than returning the lanes to all drivers, rich or poor. We'll see how the HOV lanes change traffic on I-15. Greg Anderson writes, so you're relying on a Facebook poll to measure support? I drive the 95 south from North Durango to I-15 south 5 days a week heading to the Strip. How about a poll of people that use the freeway system like I do? Seems fair to me. Then let's look at the results. I'm with Ken. And then this tweeter writes, I'm not a fan of these changes. I don't see much of a demand overnight to warrant 24-hour enforcement. Enforcement should only take place during the day. During the night, let people use them as regular lanes. So Natasha, actually, let me start with you because you know what's going on with the HOV lanes right now. They are turning all of them to 24 hours, is that correct?
I think that was the way it perceived it. So I'm from California. I was born and raised in the LA area, and I was so confused even as we did this. And so this was the first time in a while that during the city council meeting, we did a live, we went live from the discussion. We took a poll on Nextdoor, on Facebook, on Twitter, on some of the councilmen's pages, and like people just attacked it. There's over 338 comments on our Facebook post with all people like chiming in. Is it 24 hours? Is it regulated time? So I think the goal is to make it 24 hours, and NDOT came that day, the whole presentation, to explain what would be allowed and what didn't. And then our council people had questions for them, and some of them didn't support the issue, which is what led us to the poll and the explosion of conversation that happened.
So we do want to clarify, the city had no decision in making these HOV lanes.
Right.
Jason.
So often at a city council meeting, other agencies will come and give a report, and that's what happened here. NDOT was coming to give a report about Project Neon. It's finishing up, and also we're going to make some changes to the HOV lanes, which they already exist on 95, but they're only certain hours. So now they're going to be 24 hours on 95, and then on I-15, there's 2 express lanes that people use, that anybody can use. Those are going away. One will become a regular traffic lane, the other will become a 24-hour HOV lane. So that's what people were looking at.
So Melissa, what are your thoughts on this? What do you think about those HOV lanes?
So, like, I know one of the tweets mentioned keep it during the day, and not 24 hours. I personally see the merit in that. I don't know that there's enough demand for it in the evening and overnight hours to require a HOV lane. Yeah, 24 hours a day. We're not. I mean, we're kind of a 24-hour city, but I feel like most of the traffic is definitely during the day, and I feel like those are the hours that the HOV lane is needed.
Right.
But
I have to say, I really like HOV lanes in the morning because I typically have a child in the car with me, and so the HOV lanes are good. I tend to agree with you also, Melissa, that like in the evening, well, is there really a need for it? But also in that same breath, there's not a lot of people on the road at night, so the traffic isn't horrible in the evening. So I don't know, it's back and forth. I was surprised how heated people get over HOV lanes.
It got really heated, and again, like I'm from LA, the main 10 freeway, that turned into a toll road, so I get the concerns, but like people brought up so many valid points that I never thought about, like Uber and Lyft drivers shouldn't be able to use the carpool lane because they're not really carpooling, they're like driving people, and I mean, people were arguing with each other in the comments, so we have to keep it regulated on our side, but Ken Smith chimed in on all of our comments and started having conversations as well too. So it got people heated, and they were presenting the thing and not really asking. Right. But we polled people to see what their response was.
Well, and we should, just so there is clarification, the city, again, had nothing to do with the decision to make these HOV lanes. I do want to go into sticking with traffic. I want to talk about a new app that we released that will help you find parking in downtown. You work downtown. Mm-hmm. What's it like right now parking for you?
Luckily, we have our own parking garage at my office, but I know coming downtown when you're going for nightlife, wanting to visit Fremont Street, with Life is Beautiful coming up, parking can be a problem, and I feel like this new app, which helps you find parking and how much it's going to cost, is amazing.
What's it called? Can you tell us about it?
Spot Angel is what it's called. So it's basically been described to me as like the ways of parking. So like you go in there and it basically tells you where there's parking. So you don't have to drive around looking.
Wasting gas.
Yeah. Okay, so check out Spot Angel if you're looking for a place to park downtown, correct?
Yeah.
All right, guys, we are going to finish it off with a non-controversial topic, but one that is totally Vegas. We all woke up one morning a few days ago to find out a huge pop star and television star had eloped right here in Las Vegas. Of course, we're talking about Joe Jonas and Sophie Turner tying the knot. Here is a look. So what's interesting about this is that Diplo is actually the photographer at their wedding. And there's a lot of faces. And what happened is they went right after the Billboard Music Awards. And they went over to which chapel was this?
The Little White
The Little
Chapel.
White Chapel.
Which is just down the street.
Just down the street in Las Vegas limits, city of Las Vegas limits. And they got married. Here they are. Again, let's see if this one's playing. This one's not playing, but that's a good look. There it is. You can see there's a lot of, we know that guy, he's in a lot of City of Las Vegas videos. He's a
Know him
friend of
well.
ours.
Yeah.
And I just love this so much because this is totally Vegas. They got married with ring pops. They had people from different artists there in attendance. What did you think about it, Melissa?
I think it's such a fun, see myself when I get married, it'll probably be by Elvis in a Vegas chapel. So I'm like, I totally love this. And they've been together since 2016. I think it's a great follow-up to like Priyanka and Nick. Like they're huge, like multi-million-dollar, multiple weddings. And I know they're getting, Sophie and Joe are going to get married again in Europe this summer. But I think it's a really fun way they're young and fun and
Right. I loved this gift because this is like Dan and Shay, Khaled Diplo, and every other celeb leaving the BBMAs after Joe Jonas asked them to attend his wedding in Las Vegas after the show. So they're hurrying up, they're getting out of there because it happened really quickly. Natasha, what are you seeing on social?
We were just sad that we weren't there when they got their marriage license at the clerk's office.
I know, right?
And so we missed that opportunity. But
Why didn't they call us?
We woke up that morning, literally, and I was like, you guys, we need to get this on social. They just got married. And I watched Diplo's story, and he goes from the music awards to the party to like the wedding, and then to the nightclub to DJ. And I thought, you can't get any more Vegas than this whole experience.
It's totally Vegas. This is one of my favorites. We turn the music up on this one. There they are, hugging each other. They're dancing afterwards. And everyone was questioning the validity of this marriage. Like, is this a hoax? But they showed that marriage certificate.
I'll be the cynical old man here
Oh,
and just
Lord.
say that, the timing, after this award show, Game of Thrones is ending. She's got a big X-Men movie coming out. The Jonas Brothers just happen to be doing a relaunch, and they're all getting married at the same time. We'll see if it lasts.
It will. It's gonna last.
They've been together for 3 years already.
Yes. That's
You're
Jace
right.
being Jace,
All those
you
Hollywood
guys.
weddings go on forever. You guys are right.
All right, fun topics. Melissa, thanks so much for being
Thanks
here.
for having me.
All right, guys, safety in our schools continues to be a hot topic as more social media threats are called in. We're sitting down with the school district's chief of police to find out how they're working to keep your kids safe. We'll be right back.
We need a claim number?
When I started taking care of Mom, I didn't realize the challenge of playing so many roles. But above all, I'm still her daughter.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving. We're here to help.
Welcome back, everyone. Social media is most often used for fun, but the school district has seen some alarming behavior on social media outlets in the form of threats to local schools. This is, of course, something they take very seriously. I'm joined by CCSD Police Chief James Ketza and also Sergeant Brian Zink. Thanks so much for being here, guys.
Thank you.
So let's talk a little about the social media element. What kind of challenge has this posed for you in terms of keeping our kids safe in schools?
Our students, our kids, our parents, everybody's now in tune to what's going on. They're very concerned about safety, and they now have a platform that's very easy to post things and repost and send it out, and so it makes it a little bit more difficult. It can be good, but also at the same time it can be challenging.
You guys have really run into, in recent weeks, I guess since the end of March, threats on social media. You've had some middle schools had threats, some high schools have threats. What is the biggest concern for you guys right now when these threats come in? I would assume, just from an outsider looking in, it's timing. Because social media is so instant, you have to act quickly.
Yeah, it's timing, absolutely, and you don't want to miss anything. You cannot, if you miss something, you drop the ball, you don't catch something, you know what'll happen, right?
Right.
So you have to try to stay on top of it, and it is difficult at times, yes.
So what would you guys attribute to the rise in threats coming into this school? Sergeant Zink, let me ask you, would you say that it's social media or is it something else?
Well, I think a lot of times you can have a kid that'll
post they'll type something up and then they'll hit send and they'll instantly regret that they just did it because they don't realize how fast that post is going to be reshared, posted on different Facebook apps for community. You know, every community in Las Vegas has a Facebook page now,
Right.
and so a lot of these these posts will get recirculated on there. So it may be a threat that was specific towards the school in Henderson, but then all of a sudden it's showing up on a Facebook page for the Northwest up by Centennial High School, and so then we start getting a flood of phone calls, and then we're trying to deal with all that and try to figure out where it came from and what school it affects.
So how do you guys combat this? I mean, what do you do to stay? You can't stay really ahead of it. You have to be reactive with social media. So how do you do that in a timely manner when you're dealing with so many schools out there and so many parents right now who are hearing their kids come home with these social media and mom and dad, I heard this, and this guy, I shouldn't go to school tomorrow. How do you deal with this?
It is difficult. We deal with it just by hard work. Our detectives, our officers, communicating, talking, making sure, again, monitoring the things. We get the Safe Voice calls also coming in.
Explain what Safe Voice is.
It's a statewide app, phone app. You can either call in or text or use this app to report anonymously any kind of safety concerns regarding schools. So we can find out about things maybe a little bit sooner or, again, through a different platform.
So I guess for the parents out there, what steps are you all taking or have been taken to protect these students and to make sure that they're okay in school and that school is still the environment it's supposed to be when they leave in the morning?
Yeah, well, the most important thing is to our parents and our students is to let them know that school is still safe. It's very safe. We have a great team of officers. We have a great team on our own department. We also work closely with our law enforcement partners. And so we're trying not to miss things, but we also have a great team in the school district. We have a lot of parents, we have teachers, administrators, all these people out there that are the eyes and the ears.
Probably most of the incidents that we've dealt with at the schools, weapons being recovered, things like that, have come from students who care about their fellow students, care about their school, care about their community, and they'll come forward and either hit us up through the Safe Voice app, or they'll let their parent know, their parent will contact us, or they'll go and tell an administrator that there's something bad going on at their school.
Right.
And they'll let us know, and then we take action.
So parents, teachers should be encouraging their kids to say, just tell
Absolutely.
us. Even if there's something in your gut that just feels off,
Yep.
tell us, and as
Absolutely.
adults, we'll handle it.
Right, and
so
I
to
think
speak.
that we are seeing a shift in our student population and society, that they're coming forth because they know that it's the right thing to do. They're not so afraid of retaliation, which is something that in the past that we always had to deal with.
Right.
But now they are coming forward and bringing that information to us.
Right, absolutely. Now I want to talk about the K-9 program that you have with CCSD.
But we have 4 dedicated K-9s and K-9 officers, that are the handlers. And they are trained exclusively to detect guns, gunpowder residue, things associated with guns, gunpowder. It's been a great help. They found some guns already this year. We hope to expand the program and thank the superintendent for approving that program. He came in and we asked him and he said absolutely, immediately without hesitation. So also they're a good icebreaker.
Right.
When you go to a school.
Yeah, everyone likes a dog, right? A lot of parents come to us and come to the city and other places and say, why aren't these schools doing metal detectors? It's time to do metal detectors. They're expensive to do metal detectors in every school, so this might be a good next step instead of the metal detectors, correct?
Metal detectors are really not, in my opinion, and statistically looking at a lot of the reports and the studies, not that effective. And they are very expensive. And you have to figure out there's a lot of ways. You have to have a single point of entry. There's so many things. We could talk for 15 minutes just on that subject of how to really secure a school and have a single point with metal detection, and then the quality of the people running the metal detectors and all that. I mean, that's a whole nother topic.
These threats that some are making, would you say that some of them are just out of emotion and they're not thinking it through, or are these real threats?
Well, I think you said it earlier, Sergeant Zink. They like you said, they get emotional, they put something out there, or they think they're doing something either maybe funny or they're just not thinking about it really, and they type it up there, they put it, or they get it ready and they hit send, and then once they hit send, then it's too late, right?
No, as soon as that text goes out, we have to investigate it. We're compelled to investigate it to the fullest. And you know, and unfortunately, no matter what their intent was at the time they sent it, it's going to have some kind of ramifications. There's going to be consequences, because we've seen in the past some of the threats that go out pretty much disrupt the entire school for days on end. And so you got to think about the 3,000 high school kids that may be at a high school where some kid thought it'd be funny to post something. You have 3,000 kids that are scared to go to school. You got 3,000 parents that don't know if it's safe to send their kids to school. And then you have us and all of our partners in the community that spend a lot of time to make sure to either validate it or, you know, find out if it was a hoax. And then depending on if it's a threat against a person or a threat against the school, there's different consequences that come out of the juvenile justice system.
Right, and I think that's important for parents to know. It might be just smart for you to sit down as a parent and say, this is the jail time or the charge you will face if you send something like this out.
I mean, and even some of our threats have just been from casual conversations. So kids will be walking through the quad at a school and a kid will say something, someone will overhear it, and then go and tell somebody. And so it's just not through social media. You just have to really be careful what you say about a threat at a school, anything involving a weapon or anything like that, because there can be consequences, because it's about the unrest or that it causes that we deal with.
Wow, so think before you text, and I would say breathe. Take a deep breath.
Take a deep breath.
Count to 10.
Talk to somebody. Talk
Absolutely.
to your parents.
Yeah.
Go talk to your school counselor. Talk to anybody.
Absolutely.
A lot of great resources out there.
Thank you, Chief Sergeant. Really
Thank you.
appreciate it. All right, guys, when we come back, a look at some of the viral videos getting a lot of attention. We'll be right back.
Let me tell you about the toughest guy on earth. He does the work of 2 jobs, but only gets paid for one. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
Well, since our last show, May 4th has come and gone, and the social media team here at the city took full advantage. Here's a look at Natasha and Jace's favorite video.
Yes, this is our favorite. So it was May the 4th. There's also Firefighter Day, so we want to combine the two. So we have a little video with some folks in the Death Star, and a Las Vegas fire and rescue person comes in to talk to them about fire alarms, not too receptive. And then, surprise, surprise, the Death Star blows up. So it's just a kind of a reminder to people, check your fire alarms, get them checked, and they'll come to them for free, right, Natasha?
Yep, if you qualify for the program, you can call that phone number on the screen and you can get free alarms.
So I think that is really interesting. It's not 202, actually, it's 702.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
So
I
just,
changed that.
yeah, that's okay. I
was
think
my
I
bad.
pulled an old one, but it's 702. But shout out to Jordan Sandecki, right?
Yeah.
She's been on the show before as our social media guest, and she just goes all out
Quite
for
the
this
actress.
May the
She's
4th.
the Sith, and
Yeah.
there's some other losers, the Stormtrooper. He didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah,
I would like
AKA
to say,
Jace.
Yeah. I would like to say, unlike Jace, Jordan had everything in her closet to make that costume work, including the
amazing.
lightsaber, which
Well,
was not shown.
Good job, guys. Way to take advantage. All right, guys, my favorite video of the recent week is also on trend with messaging here in Las Vegas, but it involves a popular Golden Knight.
Reality check. There are big fines if you don't change your watering clock.
So,
Good to know.
obviously, Ryan Reeves telling him to change his watering clock and get the schedule. I just love it. I love that they used a Golden Knight for it. It's
Yeah,
perfect, right?
smart. Nothing's hotter than the Golden Knight, so get him to deliver your message.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. That's going to do it for us. Thanks, guys. And thank you all for watching at home. Remember, you can get in on the conversation. Just follow us at City of Las Vegas and use the hashtag TrendingVegas. We'll see you next time.